All right, this is part 7, acrylic painting techniques. This isn't really specifically a acrylic painting technique, but you can use packing tape transfers in order to apply a more transparent sort of collage. And so I've found a couple of images here. One is this photo of Dolores Huerta by Michael Maloney. I'm going to use this portion of her hands from that. And you can do this with, this is just a laser print from the school here. You have to do this with a laser printout, so magazine pages are usually good for this sort of thing. They're usually made with a laser printer. They have the same kind of toner on them that you would have with a laser printout from a copy machine. DeskJet printers don't work as well for this, or they don't generally transfer the toner the same way, and the inks are often water soluble. So this technique only usually works for those kinds of laser printouts. So I have a couple of pieces. I'm going to use, the other piece I'm using is from this National Geographic here, this photo by Andres Miguel Dominguez of a leaf. And you can make these as big or as small as you want to. You're kind of limited to the width of a piece of tape, but you can always layer them, multiple pieces of tape at once. For example, I'm going to layer these together like so. Another tool you might want is either, I have a bone folder, this is from my house, but we also have some wooden spoons that you can use here at the school to really get some pressure and burnish the surface to make sure that the adhesive sticks to all the toner. You can get multiple pieces of tape if the area you're trying to preserve or use is bigger than one piece of tape. And again, you just burnish the surface. And if you get some wrinkles in the tape, that's okay. What you're really going for is getting the adhesive to stick to the toner all the way. And that's the first step. Now obviously you can trim this down. I've got some excess tape here, so you can use scissors or X-Acto. You can trim this to straight edges, or you can cut any shape you want using this. So the real cool part about this is we're going to end up taking away the paper that's on the back here. And what will be left is just the toner. So the next thing you need is one of our painting palettes. Fill it a little bit with water, just enough to submerge this. And you're going to place it in the water upside down so that it can soak. And sometimes this takes a little bit of time, depending on the type of paper. For example, this magazine paper can be really actually kind of water repellent, or it's really the inks probably. But I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that big piece of paper. And now you'll see that the hands are just what's left here. And as it gets wet, you'll notice that you can slowly start to gently peel the paper backing so that all that's left on the tape is that toner from the front of the print. You don't want to peel too hard, because if you apply too much pressure, you'll actually remove some of the toner as well. So you're just going for getting rid of that layer of paper. With the magazine articles or pieces, it can be really easy to see because usually there's something else printed on the other side. So once that's gone, you can usually tell that your image that you wanted is now showing. And you can do this process multiple times. Sometimes after you take it out the first time and let it dry, you'll notice that there's still too much paper on there, on the back of the tape, so you can go and re-soak it and do this process more than once if you need to. And you'll start to feel it kind of feel a little bit slippery when you've got all of the paper removed and you're down to just the adhesive and the toner. Like this is start to be pretty slippery on the hands there. And keep going on the leaf printout. Now it's starting to get real smooth. At that point, I don't want to apply too much pressure because I can actually peel the adhesive and the toner off. But I'll show you what this looks like. You can see that it's very transparent now. You can also see the areas where, when you pull it out of there, you can see that there's areas where there's a little bit more paper still. So I can continue to work that until I get it all the way off. Once you're done, you just can pour this in the drain. Just make sure that the sink stopper is in there. It's also good to try and kind of pull some of the chunks to one direction if you can, and just throw those away in the trash can before you pour this in the sink. But again, if you put the sink stopper in there, it should catch most of the pieces of bits. So once the tape transfer is all the way dry, you'll notice it looks kind of like this. On the back it may be that you still see a little bit of some paper residue there, but when you flip it over, you'll notice that it's very transparent. The colors are pretty vivid, and you can actually see that some of the pencil even transferred there. That's okay. One thing that you can do is you can use this just like you would any other collage material. However, know that this is actually not a porous material. Tape is pretty airtight, and so it actually doesn't let a lot of air through sometimes. So it's good to, if you're going to be gluing this down, to put it onto some kind of porous material first rather than a non-porous material like other tape or any other kind of material that might be, maybe doesn't let air through as much, because it may be that when you do that, that the stuff that's inside of this maybe gets sealed in there and never actually dry because of the fact that it's airtight and non-porous. So, but I'm going to experiment here, and I'll leave this up as an example on the board with the non-porous on the left side and the porous material. And I'm just going to use gel medium, just like I did with my other collage stuff, and a brush, and I'm going to apply it to this surface. And then over time, you'll be able to see how it applies to the porous surface versus the non-porous surface. I'm going to trim this a little bit first, though. And again, I don't really need to apply to the front. I just need to put it on the back to make it stick down. I'm just going to coat the whole surface with gel medium. This actually kind of makes it a little bit more transparent even. Those paper fibers soak into the gel medium. And we can collage with this just as well. And again, you can cut any shape you want out of it, paste them into place. It's also not a bad idea to maybe burnish this so that it sticks well. You can trim the excess when you're done, but I'll leave this up as an example. You can see how it may react differently to the porous surface. You can see that there's an air pocket right here forming. I can try to push that out, but it may just be that it'll never dry and never actually stick in that place. Whereas in the area where it's sticking to the porous surfaces, you can see that it's not having any trouble staying on that piece. Sometimes the tape is so sticky that even when you remove the paper, it will actually re-adhere to the surface. So sometimes you don't even need to apply gel medium, but usually there's enough paper fiber left on the back that you'll actually need some kind of adhesive to stick this back down. So that is packing tape transfer.